Imagine making $70,000 a year, what society calls good money, and still feeling broke.
I was talking to a friend recently, last week, who makes about $72,000 a year, and she told me something that broke my heart. She said, "Ayo, I feel like a complete financial failure." A new study just recently came out, I have it right here on my desk, came out showing that families need almost $10,000 more this year just to live the same life they lived last year in 2024. Society tells you that $70,000 is good money. Your parents probably think you're doing great. But here's the reality check nobody wants to give you. Families need $9,360 more in 2025 just to maintain their 2024 lifestyle.
In today's conversation, Anthony O'Neill reveals why $70,000 doesn't stretch like it used to.
We need 2025 and beyond strategies for 2025 and beyond problems. They say by 2054, African Americans will have 0 to negative net worth. In simplest terms, pretty much they're saying that we will be in the red. I've dedicated the last 15 years of my life to help African Americans, and not just African Americans, but everyone, and get out of the red and get into the black. We're building a community of individuals who want to get out of debt, who want to build wealth, and get into the black. We are almost at 1 million community members who are aligning with that vision, with that mission. But oftentimes I get messages saying, "Man, I'm in the community, but then you're not subscribed." One of the simplest things and a free thing that you can do to help keep Neatness Network and the table going is simply hitting that subscribe button. We are almost at 1 million subscribers. At the time of recording this, we're at 980,000, there's 20,000 more. And man, I'm simply and super excited that if you have subscribed, thank you for being a part of this community. It's a lot of great things going, but if you haven't, can you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and join this amazing community of people that by 2054, they don't want to be a part of that stat. They want to be amongst the individuals who are consumer debt-free, building wealth, passing down legacy, and enjoying their life. Do me a favor before we get into today's show, hit that subscribe button and share today's show. Hey, thank you. Let's get to it. I was talking to a friend recently, last week, who makes about $72,000 a year, and she told me something that broke my heart. She said, "Ayo, I feel like a complete financial failure. I make what everyone calls what she said, everyone calls a good salary, right? But I can barely save $200 a month. Sometimes," she says, she feels guilty buying a $5 coffee. And I told her the same thing that I'm going to tell you all today. If you're making what society calls good money, but you still feel broke, if you're wondering where all your money goes every single month, if you feel like you're doing everything right, but still can't get ahead, this video is going to change everything for you. Listen, I need y'all to dial in and stay locked in on today's show, because here's something that I discovered. A new study just recently came out. I have it right here on my desk. Came out showing that families need almost $10,000 more this year just to live the same life they lived last year in 2024. That's $10,000 more. So by the end of today's show, you're going to understand exactly why your paycheck doesn't stretch like it used to, and more importantly, what you can do about it. Because we have to stop complaining about the White House, about Donald Trump. We have to get into a place to where we start taking control of our money. So I need y'all to hit that like button if you're ready for some truth. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because we're dropping this content every Monday and Wednesday. And this year, I want to help families. I want to help you get out of consumer debt and change your financial future. So I want to start with some real talk about what $70,000 actually means in your bank account. After we pay federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, Medicare, all the stuff they don't teach you in school, you're going to be taking home about $4,200 a month. I want to write this down because I'm going to be giving you all some math here today. Now check this out. Society tells you that $70,000 is good money. Your parents probably think you're doing great. But here's the reality check nobody wants to give you. I've been helping people with their finances for years. And this is the number one complaint I hear. Anthony, I make decent money, but I still feel broke. And you know what I tell them? It's not solely on you. It's not solely just your spending habits. It's not because you bought the latte last Tuesday. It's not because you went out to Ruth Chris last Friday with your girl. No, honestly, the game has changed and nobody is really teaching you the new rules. I've said it to y'all before that the money space is a game. Either you learn how to play it or you get played as a piece in the game. You see, $70,000 back when I was growing up used to mean something totally different. You was balling. Heck, if I'm being real with you all, I remember getting happy making $28,000 a year. Back then, $70,000 meant, man, you could buy the cream of the crop house. And I was living in California at the time. You could save for retirement. You could take a vacation with your family without going into debt. But that was then. I was literally just having a conversation with my students over at Virginia Union. Y'all can see the shirt. It's a little bit closer than y'all, but y'all see the VU, a proud professor at Virginia Union University here in Richmond, Virginia. And my kids are in between 18 and 22. We were talking about how, man, times have changed. I remember when I was spending 99 cents for a gallon of gas. I remember when I could fill up my gas tank for 10, 15 bucks. I remember going to the movies and spending $3.25 for a matinee video. I remember making $5.25 an hour for the minimum wage. I remember the days when, man, it was not expensive to live. But that was then. I remember 4 years ago, y'all, when the cost of living wasn't like this. But the game, watch this, has changed and the game is changing. Let me show you exactly what's happening with some numbers that are going to blow your mind. According to this new smart asset study using MIT data, families need $9,360 more in 2025 just to maintain their 2024 lifestyle. Let me say that one more time. $9,360. That's almost $800 more every single month just to live the same life you lived last year. And if you're single, like myself, you need $5,844 more than last year. That's almost $500 more every single month. But here's where it gets real crazy. In Colorado, where Deion Sanders is, and this is just one example, a family of four needs $273,728 to live comfortably. I'm gonna say it one more time. $273,728 just to live in a comfortable situation. That's more than most people will make in their entire careers in 1 year. And that's just to live comfortably in one state. Meanwhile, the median income for people ages 25 to 34 is $58,500. For people 35 to 44 in my age bracket, it's $69,264. Do you see the problem here? The cost of living is racing ahead like a Ferrari. And our paychecks are crawling behind like they're stuck in traffic. Let's be real. The problem is not just you. The problem is not just your spending habits. The problem is not you maxing out your credit card. No. Part of this is because it's just not sustainable. It's not your fault. Some of y'all are saying, Anthony, how did we get here? How did good money become barely getting by? It's systemic. It's not personal. This isn't about solely your spending habits or your financial discipline. This is about everything around you getting more expensive faster than your paycheck can keep up. Groceries up, housing way up, insurance through the freaking roof, gas, don't even get me freaking started. Childcare, I don't have kids, but might as well be a mortgage payment when I see the prices. Healthcare, I mean, come on. I found a story about a family, the Millers, making $220,000 a year. $220,000 a year in their household income. And you know what? They're still financially stretched. They've got 2 kids, a mortgage, student loans, and they're feeling the pinch just like you are. If a family making $220,000 is struggling, what does that tell you about the rest of us? It tells you that this problem is bigger than any individual personal choice. The system changed around us, and we're trying to figure out how to survive in this new reality. What happens to your family if something happened to you? I'm gonna ask that again. What happens to your family when something happens to you? You see, life insurance feels scary, it feels complicated, and even expensive. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be anymore. Most of us are walking around with no life insurance policy, but we have a name brand item. Thinking, I'm young, I'm healthy, I got time. Family, I want to be honest with you, I'm so sorry. That's not faith, that is pure foolishness. Here's what I love about my friends over at Ethos. They've made getting term life insurance 100% simple. No medical exams, no waiting weeks for approval. You can get a quote online in literally 10 minutes like myself and get approved the exact same day. We're talking coverage from $100,000 up to $2 million with absolutely no blood work for way less than what you actually think. Term life insurance is pure protection at a fraction of the cost of whole life insurance. Look, a healthy 30-year-old can get a $500,000 policy for about $25 a month. That's less than your Netflix and Spotify combined. Listen, your family deserves to be protected. Don't leave them struggling to pay bills and funeral costs because you kept putting this off while you're in heaven smiling. Your family's down here stressed because of your poor decisions. Listen, stop playing games with your family's future. Get your free quote today in 10 minutes by going to anthonyoneal.com/ethos. Again, go to anthonyoneal.com/ethos. And I promise you, you will feel way better and sleep better at night. All right, let's get back to today's show. Now that we understand the problem, let's talk about the solution. Because oftentimes I think sometimes we, specifically within the African American community, will highlight and will scream about the problem, but we will not sit down and talk about these solutions. And while we've highlighted this problem, there is a solution. And it starts right here. It starts in your mind. First thing you need to do is stop the shame spiral. Stop telling yourself you're bad with money. Stop feeling guilty about struggling financially when you make what you make, when you make what everyone else calls good money. Stop blaming the White House. Stop blaming her. Stop blaming him. Stop blaming. Stop complaining. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this with grace. You're not failing. The world has evolved. The system has changed around all of us. The rules of the game are different now, and nobody sent you the updated playbook. But here's what I know about the people within my community. We're here. God still woke us up this morning. Nothing new is happening underneath the sun. And here's the truth, and this is the spiritual side of me. God will never put more on us than what we can handle. So you watching this video right now means that you have not given up, means that there still is hope inside of you, means that, you know what, Anthony, I want to get the information and you're looking for answers. And that tells me everything I need to know about you and your character. We cannot control inflation. We can't control housing costs. We can't control the gas prices, but we can control our responses. We can control how we adapt. We can control how we play this new game. If you read my book, Take Your Seat at the Table, my father taught me something. Adapt, adjust, and overcome. How we adapt, how we adjust, and how we overcome with these new rules, with this new game, determines how our future looks. The old financial advice, some of it is not working anymore. I'm gonna be honest with you. We need 2025 and beyond strategies for 2025 and beyond problems. And that's exactly what I'm going to give you right now. I call this the Anthony O'Neill Action Plan. Step one is we got to have an emergency audit. This should be up on the screen. We're doing an emergency financial audit. And I mean this, an emergency. Like your financial life depends on it, because it does. For the next 30 days, I want you to track every single dollar. Actually, I want to go deeper. I want you to track every single penny. Not just the big stuff, everything. That $2.50 you spent for parking, that $12 you spent for lunch, that 50 cents you gave your son or your daughter, the subscription you forgot about. You cannot manage what you do not measure. But here's the key. Here's the key, y'all. Here's the key. We're not just tracking to shame ourselves. We're tracking to find the inflation hits. We're tracking to find what has changed. Where are the increases? What's hitting us the hardest? Is it groceries? Is it our rent? Is it your car payment? Is it your child care? And here's something that most people never do. Calculate your real hourly or salary rate wages. Take your salary, subtract your taxes, then subtract everything it costs you to work. Your commute, your work clothes, your lunches, your parking if you're living in a big city. What are you really earning per hour, per week, per month? And here's the truth. When I started calculating, even at my level now, okay, wait, I got to get up. I got to pay my girls, Morgan and India, to give me different shirts, styling shirts, so I'm not wearing the same shirt every single show, because the truth of the fact is, if I could, I would wear the same shirt every single show. Okay, the gas that gets me to come here, the staff that I gotta pay, the building fee that I pay for this, the lighting, internet. Like I want to know, okay, how much is Anthony O'Neill really profiting? And here I'm going to be honest with you. This number might shock you. but it's going to motivate you, honestly, to make some changes. When we know the actual numbers, we can make better decisions with our money. Whether you're making $40,000 a year or $40,000 a quarter or $40,000 a month, when you know your actual numbers, you start to move differently. My team, because I know my numbers, my team is honestly scared to come to me to ask me for money. Because they just know, I know down to every penny now. Wait. If I know I made this amount of money a month profit, this amount of money a week profit, this amount of money a day profit, this amount of money an hour profit, if I buy that, it's going to go into that. I don't know if I want to do that. This is not about penny pinching. This is about knowing your numbers, having it on a sheet of paper and knowing exactly what's going on. You can't be living with your girlfriend. You can't be living with your boyfriend, trying to act like everything's cool and you don't know what you're doing. Bothers me when my homeboys come to me complaining, my girl, she want this and she want that. So I just put on the credit card, and then when I'm around them, it's like, oh, babe, we got it. Go ahead and do this. But then they struggling and they stressed behind closed doors. No, sit down with your woman, brother. Sit down with your man, sister, and say, you know what? What are we honestly making? If you living with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, sit down and have an emergency financial audit. Have the hard conversation, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, single person.
All right, fam, let me keep it real with you for a quick minute here. Most career change programs, they promise you the world, then they leave you hanging. But this QA boot camp I'm about to tell you about, I'm gonna be real with you up front. It's going to take about 20 weeks of hard work, studying after your day job, pushing through when you want to quit. But this is the fastest, most legit path I found to go from whatever you're making now to $85,000 plus working from home in tech. 100% no coding required. You see, Careerist has over 1,300 graduates now working for companies like Google, Apple, Amazon, and even Disney. Their program is ranked #1 by Course Report. And here's what I love. They don't just train you and leave you. They coach you until you actually get a job. You see, one of my friends, Mike, went from working 90 hours a week, making $63,000 a year, to making $98,000 plus in commission working from home. Sarah, single mom, went from retail to $95,000 a year as a QA supervisor. These are not special people. They just made a decision to stick to it for 20 weeks, and it changed their life. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics projects that there will be a 25% growth in QA jobs by 2032. And companies are in desperate need of QA professionals because when their system goes down, they lose millions. So if you're tired of being underpaid and you want a recession-proof career that lets you work from anywhere, not just home, but even on the beach, do not wait. Every day you delay is another day someone else is getting the training you need. I want you to visit anthonyoneil.com/QA. Again, that is anthonyoneil.com/QA to sign up today. It's going to change your life. I promise you.
And watch this. Here's step 2. Some of us need to have a strategic downsize. This number 2. Y'all, I don't think they're going to like this one, Ed. They ain't going to like this one. They ain't going to like this one. Did he just say I got to downsize? I sure did. You see, strategic downsizing. Notice I didn't say cut everything and live like a monk. No, I said strategic. You see, wealthy individuals build their wealth strategically. If you're going to build a business, there's a strategy to it. One of the things that I love about one of my close friends, Pastor Stephen Chandler and Zai Chandler, who's built, I believe, the best church in the whole wide world called Union Church. Union Church. I first met Stephen when he was in a middle school or high school. I can't remember if it was a middle school or high school. I think it was a middle school, but it could have been a high school. I think maybe he had 400 members actually in the seat. But one of the things that I love about my friend and my pastor that I've learned from him is strategy. He's a phenomenal communicator, But where he wins at is strategy. If we're going to go from 400 to now he's about 20,000 people, butts in seats. These ain't numbers. Remember, Phil, that no. My church, man, they count how many people came to church between all their services. And between all their services, he's seeing around 20,000 people every single Sunday. And he didn't do it because, watch this, he can preach like a Bishop Jakes or preach like a Darius Daniels. No. He did it because he's a phenomenal communicator, because he loves God. But watch this, because of strategy. There is a strategy to everything. And oftentimes we think our gifts, oh my gosh. Let's start with housing. If your housing costs, rent, mortgage, insurance, and utilities are over 35% of your take-home pay, we need to change this strategy. We need to change this strategy. If you're a single person and those things are 50%, 6% of your pay, maybe we need to move. Maybe we need to consider a roommate. Maybe we need to go into an area that is less expensive. Maybe that is downsizing. But we do need a plan. There's nothing wrong with downsizing. Heck, even a part of me is like, man, do I need a 6,000 square foot home? I'm not hurting for money, but I see that this world is changing. And I'm looking at all of my options. Downsize doesn't mean that you're failing. It means that you're strategic. Transportation, let's talk about it. Some of y'all have a car payment that is almost like a second mortgage. You're paying $600, $700, $800 a month, which y'all know my philosophy. I don't do consumer debt. We need to have a conversation about what transportation actually costs you versus what is it worth. On one of my shows here previously, y'all saw, I told the couple when they came in, I said, man, you need to sell the car. It's $30,000 in debt. You all got to pay for a car. You have a baby on the way, which, by the way, she had her baby. Congrats. Sell the car. It puts money back in your pocket, gets you closer to financial freedom. Now you have more money to sow into your children. Let's talk about subscriptions. Death by thousands small changes. Say it one more time. Death by 1,000 small changes. Netflix, Spotify, the gym membership you have not been to in the last 6 months. That app you downloaded and you totally forgot about it. Just recently, I subscribed to an AI software that's $99 a month, and I forgot that I tried it out. And I saw it come through my email, and I was so upset because I was like, yo, I just spent $100. Like, what in the world? Like, no, I haven't even used this thing in like 4 months. I'm slipping, and I'm the money guy. So I know if I'm slipping, half of y'all need to go through your bank statement and cancel everything you don't actively use and you love. Listen, this is not about living a miserable life. This is about being intentional with every single dollar so you can build the life you actually want and enjoy. I am at a season of life to where I've built a life that I can actually enjoy. I've built a life that when I wake up, I'm not waking up with stress. But it's also because I am managing my money very well. I have a golf coach. I have a nutrition and health coach. I'm able to travel and go on vacations. I'm actually about to sign up for a piano coach so I can learn how to play the piano better. Why? It's because I'm managing and I'm making sure that I'm not spending money on things that I do not need and I do not desire. I'm budgeting. I'm writing down what I'm spending my money on so that way I can get rid of the fluff, get rid of the things that I don't desire, cut back on things so I can invest in things that brings peace and joy. Which leads me to number 3. because I can't do those things if I'm not making money. Which is step number 3, income acceleration. You see, income acceleration is needed because sometimes the problem isn't just what we're spending. If you all have been following me for a while, you understand when I say this, that income flows 2 ways. It flows 2 ways. It flows in and it flows out. So a lot of us right now is not the fact that we're honestly putting out a lot of money. It's the fact that we don't have more than enough coming in. So the problem, not the problem, but step 3 is about how do we make more money? How do we have more money coming in? But I'm not just talking about any side hustle. I'm talking about strategic income streams that actually move the needle. What skills do you have that people will pay for? What problems can you solve? What do you know that others want to learn? What boot camp can you go to, like a careerist, and get into the tech field that you can be working from home, making 6 figures a year, but you only paid maybe a couple of $1,000s to go to this boot camp. Now you pay a couple of thousands, but your ROI was what? A 6-figure situation. Maybe you're good with social media. Businesses need help with that. Maybe you're like me. Maybe you have a 10% edge. And maybe you can teach courses and maybe you can teach something via a course. Let me pause right there, because in today's day and time, a lot of people frown on course people. And what I've learned is people who frown on people who teach. I guess you're frowning on professors. You're frowning on school teachers. Because if you have learned something, if you have built something over the last 10, 15, 20 years, and you have seen fruit from what you're doing, man, go teach it to someone. My friend Amy Porterfield is honestly launching her course thing to where you can learn how to build a course and sell it for $20, $30, $100, whatever you want, because you had that 10% edge. We're going to put that inside the show notes. Because we need to be strategic on how do we produce extra income. Maybe you're good at organizing. People will pay you for organizing services. I paid my homegirls, Morgan and India, to come in and organize my closet. I paid them like $1,000 to do that. And it feels so good as me walking into my closet, knowing where my jeans are. I can walk into my closet with the lights off. I know where my dark blue jeans are because it's so organized. Maybe you know Excel really well. You can teach that. Maybe you can write or edit or design or fix things. Your skills are worth more than you think, but you have to package them and market them like they actually matter. And if you're employed, we need to talk about negotiating your salary. In this economy, if you're not asking for raises, you're essentially taking a pay cut every year because of inflation. I have a pay raise PDF. It's about 30 pages long. We're going to put that inside of today's show notes. It's going to walk you through how do you negotiate? How do you bring up the conversation that's not a turnoff to your employer and say, hey, listen, this is what I brought to the table. This is what I have accomplished this year. Can I get a pay raise? Listen, if you can do those 3 things now, it's going to position you to build wealth the long term. As I'm ending today's show, I want to talk about long-term wealth strategies. Because we're not just trying to survive this month. Oftentimes I would hear people say, you know what, as long as I can just get to tomorrow. It's like we only want to live for today. We only want to live for this month. But no, y'all don't know about y'all. I'm trying to build wealth for the future. I'm trying to build wealth for my kids' future. And let me be honest with you. I've done a show on this, man. It's already at like 300-something thousand subscribers. If you're going to build long-term wealth, Sometimes it is about your location. Sometimes the solution is your location. I get it. California has beautiful weather. I get it. Florida has beautiful weather. I get it. New York gives you that city vibe. I get it. But if you can work remotely for a season, or if you can find similar work in a lower cost of living area, that might be the fastest path to financial breathing room. I call that margin. One of the things I'm teaching my students right now in class is like, man, when you all graduate, your number one thing is not location. And watch this, it's not even about the salary. It is about margin. If this is your income, your expenses are down here. What is in between? Margin. And I teach this to my young kids. I'm like, listen, I want you to do the math, do the research. If you can move to South Dakota and stay there for 2 years, get a job paying you $75,000, but your living expenses is only about $25,000, that means you have $50,000 in margin. How do we stack that? How do we save that? How do we put that into an investment portfolio, savings portfolio for 2-3 years? Then by the time you turn 25, 26 years old, you got $25,000 inside of a savings account. You got some investments already inside of an investment portfolio. I'm teaching good here. You've got experience in your career field to where now you can go somewhere and they pay you more money, but your living expenses is down. You don't have any debt. Now we maybe not make it in California. Maybe we can make it in Atlanta. Maybe we can now make it in Virginia, close to DC. Maybe now we can go to Baltimore. Maybe now we can go to on the outskirts of Dallas, Texas, on the outskirts of Houston, Texas. We can get close to where we want to go because we were willing to do. One of my friends, my mentor back in the days, Dave Ramsey, said, a lot of people do not want to live like no one else so that one day they can live like no one else. No, we want to live like everyone else and struggle like everyone else. And we refuse to live like no one else so that one day we can not only just live, but we can give like no one else. Margin is that bread and butter. Margin is that bread and butter. Every single month, I'm looking at how much margin am I creating for myself. We've recently had some transitions from my team, and I told my staff here, I was like, I'm not hiring no one else. That just created more margin for me. Like, I feel the economy shifting. I haven't had to fire anybody in the last 4 years. Not because of money. But money is fluctuating. It's going up, it's going down. It's going up, it's going down. But my team, my staff has never felt it. Anthony O'Neill has felt it because I get paid off of the bottom line. But I'm always looking at margin. And watch this. Because I keep our margin so locked in, none of my staff members, none of my contractors has ever felt it. I've never missed a paycheck. I've never been late on a paycheck. Watch this. I have not even had to go into my personal savings to pay them. Because I keep a lock on margin. And I am not living above my means. Which leads me to the second thing. If we're going to really build wealth long term, right? We need to talk about investing. Even when you feel like you have nothing to invest, I still need you to open up a Moo app. And I need you to invest $25. I need you to put $50 in there. The key is starting. Because time is your biggest advantage when it comes to wealth building over a long term. And here's the third one as we end today's show. You gotta have multiple, and I mean this, multiple streams of income. The new American dream requires multiple revenue sources. Your job, side hustle, investments, and even some passive income. You can't rely solely on your job. And I tell that to my team all day long, because at the end of the day, If life happens, Anthony O'Neill will always be paid. And if you don't own it, if you don't have another source of income, you never put all of your trust into me. I'm going to do the very best that I humanly possibly can. But my responsibility is not taking care of your family. My responsibility is taking care of me and my family, but also stewarding your job and your situation the best way I possibly can. But your family, your livelihood is on you. Go get another side hustle. Go do something to where if something was to happen here, you got other sources of income coming in. You cannot rely, y'all, on solely one source of income. I know that sounds overwhelming. I know it. But remember, you don't have to do everything at once. Pick one thing, master it, and then add the next thing. Progress over perfection. Listen, millions of Americans are facing this exact same challenge right now. People making $50,000, $70,000, $100,000, heck, even $200,000, heck, even millionaires. We're all trying to figure out how to make it work in today's new economy. But let me encourage you. There's people winning. Let me end with this story. One of my good friends, Sarah, she reached out to me 6 months ago and she was making $65,000 and feeling completely broke. She was embarrassed. Thought she was failing. Her exact words was, "I'm a failing adult." But after implementing some of these strategies that I taught you all today, the audit, the strategic downsize, she was living in a 3-bedroom townhome, moved into a 1-bedroom apartment. The income acceleration, she's now saving close to about $750 a month. And she feels in control of her money for the first time in years. Some of y'all been saying, "Anthony, $750 a month, that's not a lot of money." Yes, it is. If you can save $750 this month, $750 next month, you just put $1,500 in the savings. The following month, you got $2,200 in the savings. Before you know it, you got $5,000 in the savings. And if I'm not mistaken, the numbers are still there. 60% of the people in America can't afford to save $1,000. The difference wasn't that she suddenly became better with money. The difference was that she understood the game. She made some changes and she learned how to play by the new rules in 2025. Listen, your financial future is still bright. Your financial future is still bright. I want to say it one more time. Because I think a lot of us are feeling discouraged. A lot of us are feeling hurt. A lot of us are like, yo, what in the heck am I going to do? Your financial future is still bright. Every generation has faced economic challenges. Our parents dealt with crazy interest rates in the 80s. Our grandparents lived through the Great Depression. Every generation finds a way to adapt, to adjust, and to overcome. And you know what? You have the advantages that previous generations never had. You have access to information. You have access to online education. You have access to a community of 1 million+ people right here on YouTube, on podcasts. You have access to global markets. You have access to side hustles that didn't exist 20 years ago. You have access to AI. We have the ability to learn any skill on YouTube, on boot camps like Careerist. We have the access now to start a business today from our laptops, from our cell phones. So coming up with excuses and saying I cannot do it is lame. The greatest enemy to our success is our excuse. Make the right decision today. Go back, watch this show again, do what I taught, and I promise you, you'll be all right. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're adapting to a new reality. We all are. And that takes time. But you're going to figure this out. Stay locked in. Keep coming back every Monday, every Wednesday. And I promise you, we're going to get you out of the red and into the black and building a legacy that you'll be proud of when you turn 80, 90 years old and you're seeing your children, your family, and your community building off of what you built. Listen, I love you. Please hit that thumbs up if you made it all the way to the end of this show. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.